All right, we're going to be recording, which is fantastic. My name is Kelsey Moon. I am the Travel Program Manager at the University of California, San Diego. I've been part of my campus's travel office for almost 15 years, and I've been an advisory board member for SCTEM for almost 3 years now. I'm going to be your host and your moderator today, so you'll see a lot of me. My campus is in the beginning stages of our own sustainability exploration, and it's really exciting to be able to talk to you all about this topic today. The webinar for today is designed to not only kick off our web series, but also to gather and share information, spark curiosity, and network with your fellow SCTEM members. Many of us in higher education are new to the sustainability journey, and we hope that this collaborative space sets the foundation to move us all forward in our journeys on our respective campuses. For those of us who are farther along in their sustainability journey, we encourage you to share your lessons learned, best practices, and your favorite tips and tricks so that we can all benefit from your expertise. SCTEM is by higher education for higher education, and we're definitely going to benefit the more you speak up, the more we all learn together. We're going to jump in. Let's conduct some quick polls to get a feel for everybody, where everybody is in their own campus journeys. So poll question 1. Does your campus currently have a sustainability office or department? We're going to get that poll up in Zoom in just a second. It's interesting to me how many people have sustainability offices, but their travel departments aren't linked or they're not communicating. So we would just want to know if you have a sustainability office or department. We are working on getting the poll up. This may be part of our tech issues that we had. Here we go. Fantastic. So most of us do. It's not uncommon if you don't. I found out yesterday, Lainey, not to call you out, but one of our other board members had an office but wasn't sure that it was there. So we are learning things every day. Perfect. Great. So most of us do have a sustainability office, and hopefully that office is in touch with your travel department or travel program and are collaborating. If you're not doing that yet, that's okay. That's why we're here together today. Can you all see the results on the screen? Great. Love it. Okay, perfect. So the next poll question, is your program mandated, your travel program? Let's see if we can change that poll question. There we go. We all know that the mandate word, the M word, is a big one in higher ed. We know that mandating is difficult at best. And the question comes up time and again. A mandate on your travel program will provide us all with the data that we need to track, record, and report on emissions data, carbon emissions, carbon footprint, that sort of thing. And so if your program is mandated, you're going to have a leg up on the non-mandated programs. It's becoming apparent to campus leadership that sustainability is a huge hot topic issue right now. And a lot of campus leaders are asking for carbon emission data and information on their travel programs. Without a mandated program, there's not going to be a way to get that information. We can take stabs at it from our expense reporting tools. We can take stabs on it based on guesstimates or estimates, or perhaps even city pair data. But without that mandate, we don't have the exact booking data needed to provide leadership and travelers with the information they're asking for. Okay. And now our third poll, third and final. Are you currently capturing your carbon emissions data? We'll get that poll up in just a second. So data, of course, is the cornerstone of any program of any kind. Without consistent and reliable data, we're not getting the full picture of what our campus is doing in terms of travel. Some TMCs provide this information. I know that if you're using Concur, among other booking tools, they have canned reports that you can get this information from. But without actually running those reports, looking at the data, analyzing the data, you are going to have a tough time getting a true picture of your carbon emissions. Yeah, it looks like most of us are, but not everybody is. That's about right. That's how it goes in the industry. I see comments in the chat too. Perfect. Yes. Some people aren't sure. Oh, perfect. Judith has a hired new position for travel sustainability coordinator with a dual report to travel and sustainability. Aren't you lucky? It's a great position to have. I suspect that many campuses will move towards that in the future. Wonderful. I didn't mention this at the beginning, but yes, absolutely use the chat. We're all here as friends, peers, counterparts. We are going to be learning from each other, and the chat's a great way to share your ideas as this webinar progresses. Camilla captures but hasn't used the reports yet. Same, we get those reports, we have those reports, we run those reports, but we're not quite sure what to do with them yet. Wonderful. All right. Yes, and Julie says we track carbon footprint related to energy use for buildings, but not travel. I'm hearing that that's where it begins with higher ed. It begins on the campus. It begins with recycling programs, sustainable dorm buildings, sustainable office buildings, that sort of thing. But travel seems to be not tied in yet. So that's why we're here today, discuss ways to tie in the travel program with your campus's various sustainability efforts. Bring it to the forefront, if you will. All right, if we can go, perfect. Carolyn, you're so good with moving those slides ahead. We have a general sense now of where our fellow members stand, just based on the 3 poll questions. Those are very general and very vague, and there's a lot more to it than those 3 questions, but that was a starting point to see how this group in particular lines up with each other. Let's take a look at the travel industry as a whole. Interest in sustainability is growing, and it's definitely top of mind for many of our travelers, campus leadership, and stakeholders. How can we as travel managers get started with our own programs on our own campuses? How can we increase awareness, buy-in, and participation? We're going to move into our breakout rooms. As I said before, if this group here remains small, we were going to stay together, but it looks like with 48 people, we have enough space for at least a couple breakout rooms. We're going to be putting you into a room with a moderator. So when you're in your breakout room, there's going to be a couple of prompts on the screen to spark your conversations. Each breakout room is going to have a moderator who's going to participate in the conversation and keep track of some of the ideas to bring back to the larger group in about 20 minutes time. The topics are just a guide. They're going to help you start a conversation. We know that our SCTEM members are not shy and are very eager to share their experiences. So please come off of mute, say hello to your breakout room participant fellows, and let the discussion begin. I'm going to be popping in and out of breakout rooms to just check on things and see how things are going. Again, when we come back, we're going to share what we've learned. Enjoy the discussion, meet some new people, say hi to your old friends, and we'll see you back in the main room shortly. I think Teresa is working on getting this breakout room set up for us. Thank you, Teresa. All right, we're going to our rooms. Thank you.
Have anybody who's not yet in a room?
Looks like there's a handful.
Okay. Oh, okay, here we go. Anybody else not assigned to a room? Kelsey, do we have anybody else that's not in a room? Can't tell. Carolyn, do I not have you?
I declined because my screen's being shared. I had to stop sharing to do it.
Oh, okay.
So I
Hope I
didn't,
got a moderator in each room. Good grief.
I didn't think about that.
I'm shaking right now because
Oh, so now you're inviting me to room 3?
Yeah.
No, I've got it. Okay.
You okay, sweetie? Yeah.
Log in. So I have to look at my kid's voice in the background.
No worries.
I work with Allison and Kelsey at UC San Diego. I am actually in the athletics group, but I do all of our athletic travel.
Hi, can you send me back to, I think I was in group 4. I got booted. Thank you.
Pamela, were you in a breakout room or would you like to go back to a breakout room?
Making some recommendations around different ways that we could potentially reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, whether it's looking at driving for shorter distances, if that's a better opportunity to reduce emissions, or looking at things like carbon offsets as well. So that's a semester-long project that they're working on right now, and that's going to start framing our conversations around travel sustainability.
Awesome. I like using interns. Then some other, conversation starters. In terms of how your travel department fits in with your campus sustainability group, for the most part, I think we're all, directly related or in the travel department. Are you collaborating with your sustainability office? Obviously with Judith, new position, they've actually, collaborated
You there, Teresa?
I'm sorry.
Ah.
Um,
No, I got screwed up on sharing it, and now I can't share it in a presenter mode and have my Zoom screen open. It's weird. So I
my
had to
God.
leave that room because I did it in the middle of that, and I was like, uh-oh. But Lainey's moderating it, so.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, I asked Kelsey what time to come back and she said 10:44. So I
Okay.
was freaking out when I realized that I can't do breakout rooms and Zoom webinar, and that was the link I used, and it was on everyone's calendar. So I've been spending this whole time trying to fix it. And I was like, I realized then, Steven, that you link to one thing and then it links you to another thing. I said, I was on the phone with them for a while trying to say, you need to put the new link in that button, but they said you can't do that. I'm like, oh my God. So
Uh-oh.
then after that, I was like, by the time I was all done, I hadn't sent an email to everybody with the new link. Oh, I'm shaking like,
Oh, are you okay now?
I'm a little better now, but I wish Kelsey did amazing. Kelsey
Yeah.
did amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So luckily it worked out in the end, but I don't think everybody knew how bad the craziness was, the mess up was.
well, that's good because you didn't make it seem that way. So we just waited and we were cool. It was cool.
And Kelsey, yeah, like I said, Kelsey did a really good job.
Yeah.
And I got a bunch
Really
of
nice
emails.
flow.
Yeah, I got a bunch of emails and I was sending them the new link as I was doing. I just hope nobody just didn't give up and leave, but
Yeah. 40 something in there. So
pretty good.
gosh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you still see my screen?
I can't see your screen now.
Okay.
Are you trying to share your screen?
Well, that's
Oh.
fine because that explains why I'm not seeing. Now that makes more sense. Okay.
I was like, I didn't even have time to think, did I get a facilitator in each room? I did ahead of time, but well, now I can see your screen.
Yeah. So when I joined the room, it stopped sharing, I think. So that was okay. All right.
Oh, interesting. I think it's still going well. It's a small group of people that probably aren't as like.
They're friends of ours. So
Right. And the next one, we can use the webinar, so we don't have to worry. We won't have breakout rooms. So the link is going to be correct from the beginning.
okay, cool.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I got up at 7 o'clock, 7 a.m. I've been working on this for 3 hours.
Wow.
I had the polls set up. I had the rooms set up. I mean, not the rooms, but I had the polls set up. I was almost done, and I was going in to set up the rooms, and I realized I couldn't do it. And ever since then, I've been trying to fix the link. Anyway, we're here now. Kelsey did amazing.
Yeah. She does a really good job.
Yeah, she really does. So she said 10:44. Maybe she meant 10:45. And it sounds like people are enjoying talking about it, so that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a nice topic to. I just hope they realize it's a conversation. It's not that we're going to give them all kinds of information.
Yeah, and I'm realizing that you can't record in the breakout rooms, so
Right.
probably not a good idea to have this as a recording. But I recorded it because I'm like, I'm not going to forget to record just in case. So I did.
Well, we'll still have the report out and stuff.
Yeah, the polling and all that.
And Kelsey's presentation, and then the polling and the report out from the breakout room. So
Yeah,
I
it tells me I can't mute. I have to be off mute to record. So I'll just try to be. Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Hello. Yeah. Actually, can I call you back in like 2? All right, I'm doing slides for a Zoom presentation, but they're all in a breakout room right now. That was our realtor. I guess there's a new listing out. I'll have to look it up.
Oh, nice.
We saw a house last night, and it's 2.5 acres. It's built in 2004. So the roof is original, the furnace is original, furnace and air conditioner. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could take it, we could make it work. I mean, nicely. The only bad part is that the master is not on the first floor.
Mhm.
So that's an addition we could add later on. When we, but everything else is on the first floor. So you don't have to go up and down the stairs like we do in a tri-level. So it's
Oh.
just when you want to go upstairs to go to bed or something, but you can live all day without, anyway. If
Right.
you've been in a tri-level, you'd get what I was saying.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna bring them back now.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Listing on Roberts Road, look for it, please.
People are starting to trickle back. All right, here comes the group. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I hope your breakout room discussions were lively. I notice some rooms are more active than others, and that is normal, depending on how much coffee we've had this morning or this afternoon, if that's your situation. Okay, it looks like we're all back. Great. We're going to share some of the highlights or lowlights or takeaways or standouts from our conversations. Moderators and participants, go ahead and come off mute to share your findings. This is going to be sort of a free-for-all conversation. Moderators, feel free to take the lead if you'd like, or if you're a particularly chatty one, go ahead and please share with us some of the highlights. If no one talks, I have one in mind.
One of the highlights that we had is I'd like to bring Lily up to talk about it. They already have an established sustainability program at her university, and it's very interesting goal for the president there. And so they didn't get a lot of pushback for it. But the trend that I'm seeing is that a lot of us aren't quite sure where we fit in and how we're going to join that office. And some people get contacted a lot and some people don't. So we're kind of all over the place. But Lily, if you'd like to say a few things to the group, I think they'd be very interested in your program.
So Arizona State University started a carbon offset many years ago, more of an optional type of carbon offset where you could choose to participate in it if you like, and then they charge a fee on your travel expense report. In 2018, that's when the university made it mandatory. So for every travel expense report that had airfare on it, there's a carbon offset fee that's charged to it. And I just double checked it, so it's actually $15 right now. I think I mentioned 10 in our break room. And it's in one of the president's like 2020, well, 10 years ago, it's the 2025 plan. And it will list out where we're going to do the carbon offset, the mandatory charge, and then what the funds will be used for. And so that's how our employees have been informed about it. We haven't had any pushback. on that. It's just part of their expense report. So every time a travel has airfare, they get charged for the $15 fee. The amount was calculated by our sustainability office, and this amount increases every year. So it did start off at $8 a fee, and it's increased to $15 now per expense report that has airfare. Our first project that we used for the funding that we received was planting about, I think it was 100 trees across campus using the funds that we collected. The funds right now, our next project is to build out more Zoom room type of conference rooms where there's a conference room that has the technical capabilities of doing the Zoom rooms, and you can hold your meetings there on campus instead of traveling to another location to meet with other people. There are other, there's opportunities for employees across campus if they like to submit some other types of sustainability programs or projects that they would like to have paid from this funding source that goes to the sustainability office. And that actually gets looked at and then proposals go up to leadership for what they would like to do for their next project using these funds. But that is our current program, and that amount does increase every year.
Lily, we had a question. Is it charged to all funding sources, including federally funded grants?
Yes, that's correct. It is. One thing that was mentioned in our group was athletics. So our team travel, there is a negotiation that has been done in the past where for team travel, they work on a different type of calculation on charging for those flights for team travel for athletics. It's not per student athlete that they're being charged $15. So there's like a group rate for them.
Thank you very much.
And I had a question in reference to charter flights. Anybody have any insights on how they handle that? Or Lily? Would that be under your athletics or just? Hello?
I can say that most of our charters are typically athletics. So I think they're on a, from what Lily has said, athletics is on a different scale.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Tina, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. So as I said before, I am new. So I have done a little bit of poking around. Amanda Lash directed me to our Office of Sustainability. In Alaska, I've done some looking. We started here in the spring of 2010. It looks like COVID stopped us in our tracks in the spring of 2018. But I can tell from reviewing our past projects that the University of Alaska Fairbanks has been focused on its carbon footprint. We just recently had a huge project and replaced our university power plant center, which used to be coal-fired, which was a huge project and a big reduction in our carbon footprint. I see where we have green bikes. We're working on recycling, which is very difficult in Alaska, especially Fairbanks. All of our recycling has to be trucked to Anchorage, which is, we've got to do better on that. So I see where the university is definitely making all the steps that it can, and we do have on-campus recycling programs, but I do not see yet where we've been able to capture the travel program in and see what we can do with it to help us be more sustainable. It is definitely something every Alaskan is interested in. We want to save our campus, we want to save our cities, we want to save our world. And thank you.
I just want to say, if we run out of time, I'm seeing some questions come by. Don't forget about SCTM Discuss. We can answer a lot of these questions there too if we do run out.
Yeah, that's on the next slide too. Perfect.
Kelsey, a great question that came up in our breakout room, if we have time, was kind of figuring out a better way to calculate emissions. Deborah was mentioning, that in Concur, if you're looking at a flight, nonstop flight from California to London, and it's all, a nonstop flight, it's giving you the same number of carbon emissions, but it's not taking into account the type of aircraft being flown and whether or not it is a more fuel efficient aircraft, if it's new or what have you. And didn't know if there's any other groups that weren't in our specific breakout room that have already found a way to better calculate these that takes into account not just the mileage, but all the components.
That is a great subject. Yeah, sometimes it's not enough just to get the mileage. We need to know what sort of airline or airplane. We need to know what fuel is being used. We need to know how many layovers There's a lot of factors that go into that. Has anyone had success with reporting that? Getting information on that? I know a lot of times we rely on our booking tool or our TMCs, sometimes even our partner suppliers for that direct information. Sounds like that's.
And Deborah did suggest, we take our pooled decision-making power to concur and say, hey, let's figure out a way to fix this.
Absolutely. Yes, agreed. The good news is we have concur and the session for next time. They're part of our expert panel. So they will be in this conversation as well. And hopefully can address that. I realize not everyone uses concur. There's a wide variety of tools that we're all using, but hopefully one of them will take the lead on getting this sort of information for us.
Kelsey, I'd actually be curious now that you mentioned that there are a number of our colleagues on this call and their travel program does not include concur. And I'm assuming that there are other online booking tools that they're bringing to the travel program. Is there anyone here able to share the way the calculations are presented during an airfare search? So, that might be some interesting information to also share with concur when we meet with them during the next session. So we can also, advise that other online systems have already figured out a way to be much more proactive with the traveler in order to make an informed decision up front instead of in the back end, once we've already calculated the emissions, perhaps using a less fuel efficient aircraft.
Yeah, I love that. I know that regardless of the booking tool I use for whatever reason, of course, for work, I always use concur. I'd like to see that information. I have no idea what sort of airplane I'm booking. I think I can find it if I looked for it, but it's not right there in my face where I would want to see it as a quick decision. So that's really good information.
There is a setting, sorry, Kelsey, but there is a setting in concur where you can see the CO emissions.
Yes, there is,
Yeah, yeah.
But it's based on mileage. It's not based on
Correct.
the equipment.
Yeah.
So, for instance, using the San Francisco to London example, there might be 4 nonstop flights on 4 different airlines. And when you check the CO2, it's going to show up in mileage. So that even though each nonstop flight may be flying a different Airbus equipment or a Boeing equipment, maybe 2 of the 4 are more fuel efficient. We don't know that because the CO2 that that's presented to us during the search, it's strictly miles. So all 4 nonstops show the exact same CO2 emission number.
I just didn't want people to think that there's nothing available at all for them to see before they make their decision.
Sure.
Really good point, Shannon. Yeah, for sure.
And I'd also add, just Kelsey, if I can also add to that conversation, the airline industry themselves are aware of this, and they're the ones that are feeding this information into concur. So, but the other aspect is that they have an awful lot of schedule changes, and they are swapping out equipment a lot of the time. So what we're purchasing at time, or what we're choosing at time of purchase, might very well change at time of flying. And I've been noticing that there are some apps that are also coming out for folks to track themselves. So that might be something else to look at further down the line to augment the information that we're capturing up front, the booking data, but the actual flown data in the future. What are you actually flying on? Is it an aircraft? So, that self-tracking might be something in the future to start considering too.
Yeah, absolutely. We've heard that from a couple of different places that there are, not individual, there's, what's the word? When it's not connected to your business tool, you just do it yourself. You self-track. Mm-hmm. Yes, there are apps that do that. There are ways to get that. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that in the expert panel next session. Okay, we have 2 minutes left. One point that I wanted to bring up, I think Ed has left. Ed, if you're still here, feel free to chime in. But in the breakout room with Ed, we were talking about how policy may allow for sustainable options, such as renting an electric vehicle or taking a direct flight instead of a flight with a layover in order to save on emissions. But there are federal guidelines that may not pass audit if that sort of trip is booked. It can't be reimbursed based on your fund source. So if you have a federal fund, it's possible that the more sustainable option is not going to be allowable under that federal grant. So it seems like there's a lot of blocks to sustainability. I think that we're all going to the same place, but we're finding unexpected blocks everywhere we turn. And this is a great group to be able to hash those out and figure out how we can come together as a group and talk to our partner suppliers, talk to our expense tools, our booking tools, and see what the options are to get rid of some of those blocks. I'm not sure how we can tackle the federal government, though. That's a different conversation. All right, we have a minute left. Carolyn, if you want to just jump ahead one slide. All right. Again, apologies for the tech issues in the beginning. Thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for being here with us. We really enjoyed the conversation. On behalf of the advisory board, the SCTM advisory board, we really thank you for being here today. We look forward to seeing you in the second part of our series, which is in 2 weeks on February 9th, where we're going to have an industry panel featuring experts from Delta Airlines, Enterprise Holding, SAP Concur, Cvent, and Christofferson Business Travel. So it's going to be a good group. What we're going to do is take the questions and topics we discussed here today and sort of mix them up and reformulate them to give to the panel to chew on. I'm sure the panel will also bring their new ideas and their new topics, and we will have a lively discussion in 2 weeks. So we'll see you then. Thank you again so much for joining us. See you next time. And of course, don't forget SCTEM Discuss. It's a great, great sounding board for all your ideas and questions. See you next time, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.